Come on in, sit back and relax. You're listening to the Wealth Tech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. This podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Rich Cancro, CEO of AdvisorEngine. We spoke about a couple of interesting topics. One, the problem that Rich sees in the industry of fragmented wealth tech. His solution, their unified platform with deep integrations. We talked about their AI strategy, building and partnering. Talked a little bit about Client Portal as a workflow hub, and touched on their roadmap and key initiatives. Now, as Rich and many of his peer CEOs know, building a great wealth tech product is hard, but selling it is even harder. Wealth management firms have long buying cycles, complex org structures, and a lot of incumbent vendors protecting their turf. Now, Ezra Group can help wealth management firms skip this learning curve. We spent over 2 decades advising the wealth management firms you're trying to sell to, which means we understand how they think, how they buy, and what it takes to win their business. We offer go-to-market strategy consulting specifically for wealth tech providers, helping you define your positioning, identify the right targets, and build a distribution strategy that fits how the market actually works. If you want to free up your firm for exponential growth, you need to run, not walk, to our new website, ezgroup.com, and click the big purple Contact Us button on the homepage to schedule a free consultation. All right, now my standard housekeeping chores. Please subscribe to the show, yada, yada, yada. I hate that stuff. You know what to do there. Make sure to check out our sponsor. This is important, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation at investinothers.org. If you're a software vendor in the wealth management space, besides going to our big, beautiful purple Contact Us button on the homepage, you should go to ezgroup.com/register and make sure your product is registered for a Wealth Tech Integration Score vendor portal so your integration score is always up to date. And now, let's kick this thing off. All right. I'm excited to introduce our next guest. It's Rich Cancro, CEO of AdvisorEngine. Rich, buddy, it's great to see you.
Craig, as always, great to see you. Looking forward to our conversation.
We already had a whole long conversation before I hit the record button. We really should start an NFL wealth tech podcast where just NFL, wealth tech guys, we just talk about NFL.
100%. It'd be fun to be talking about that. Maybe we should on a weekly basis and have like a recap of the past week.
Okay. During the season, you mean?
During the season, yeah, a little weekly season.
We'll just do like a one-off podcast for wealth tech or would open up to all wealth management, or maybe fintech NFL. Well, you have to be in the fintech space. You can talk NFL, and we'll just do that. That could be a fun thing. All right, because I always feel like I could do a better job talking about what happened than some of these podcast guys.
I certainly feel the same way. There's sometimes a lot of noise out there and not a lot of information.
And just so that anyone's listening knows, I'm an Eagles fan and Rich is a Steelers fan. So we don't really butt heads because we're not in the same division or even the same conference, but it's still fun to talk about.
Well, that's true, but I'm also a New Yorker, so we definitely butt heads, and we're actually butting heads right now with the 76ers and the Knicks.
Yes. Yeah, the Sixers are getting their ass kicked. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but OG Anunoby, I just killed his last name, by the way.
That's right.
Just got a pulled hamstring, so we're hoping he comes back soon.
Yeah, hopefully, we'll see if we can get something going because it's not looking good for the Sixers. But that's a different issue. So enough of the talk. This is going to be live like a month from now, and the series will be over, and people are like, "Why are you talking about the Sixers?" All right, so enough of that. But Rich, let's get back to basics here, and we're talking about wealth tech and AdvisorEngine. So give us a 30-second elevator pitch for AdvisorEngine.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, so AdvisorEngine is a full wealth platform. So that means end-to-end from CRM to digital onboarding tools, money movement, asset movement, trade rebalancing capabilities, performance reporting, fee billing, as well as a ton of workflows that connects all those pieces. And of course, a white label branded client portal and mobile app. And just a quick disclosure, right? We're going to be talking about our TAMP as well. So we have 2 entities, AdvisorEngine Inc., the tech company, and then there's AdvisorEngine Portfolio Solutions, which is a registered investment advisor that serves other registered investment advisors.
Thank you, compliance. That's a regulatory announcement for the day. I think it's the first one we've ever had on this podcast. This is a wealth tech podcast, but got to get it out there. Good.
Got to get
Right.
it out there.
So talking about a full wealth platform, if we can go up to the 30,000 level, 30,000 foot level. So we've seen the advisor tech stack exploding with all different kinds of applications, whether from CRM to marketing automation. And yet most firms that we're working with are still struggling with fragmented data and disconnected workflows, fortunately, which just keeps us in business. But from your perspective, with AdvisorEngine's solution, what's still fundamentally broken? How are you fixing it around wealth management technology?
Well, I think I'm going to come up with a new tagline for us, which is to put Craig Iskowitz out of business.
That would be some kind of tagline. Yes.
It's
My,
pretty
my old
long.
joke is if a vendor's solutions worked half as well as they say they do, we'd be out of business.
Oh, Craig, that hurts. So, in all seriousness, yeah, I mean, from the day they founded the company, right, we're trying to solve exactly what you're talking about, which is really taking together a lot of fragmented data and fragmented workflows across multiple custodians and data providers, right? So ultimately, if you think about all the steps of a wealth management lifecycle, connecting all those pieces, I think is super important, right? So the data coming in, connecting all the features, and then on top of that, and I think this is where we actually started from, super important to connect the three main constituents, right? So the advisors, the business operations, and their clients, right? So connecting all three of those. And I think the fragmentation has come from a few different places. One is that area right there where when I think certain tech stacks were built historically, they were built for advisors, right? And then thought about, hey, how do we get a client connected to that? Or there was client, and investor software then moved in more into the advisor space, and now it's like there's like a secondary thought. Where we started to solve this problem is no, we're going to solve for all three of the constituents, right? All the three main roles, and then even within that, if you think about business operations, there's all and Craig, you know this well. People say operations that could mean 10 different things to five people, right? So we think about COO, we think about head of operations, we think of CFO, we think about client service administrators, right? So people open accounts, people who change addresses, people who work with their custodian, people do trade rebalancing, who's managing the business. All those types of roles fit within business operations. So we've done a ton of work identifying each one of those roles and creating experiences for them, curated, that they can also share with similar roles in their organization. So it's a tough problem to solve, right? Which is why, like yourself, you're in business because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot to do there, right? So I just said data across custodians, data from multiple different providers, and that could be market data providers to data aggregation, other, other a whole bunch of custodians, things like that. So you bring all of that data together, and then if you think about like the core custodians in the RI space and broker dealer space, they all have their own set of workflows, right? That you got to connect into and APIs and be really smart about how you do that. So there's just a lot there to connect that. Then, of course, the other layer is the various tools that are out there, right? So planning tools that our clients want to use, or whether it be other types of tools like that they want integrated into the overall ecosystem. So there's just a lot to do there.
There's an endless amount of work to do there, especially when you've got a platform like AdvisorEngine, which is both a unified platform and an integrated platform, and because of all the things you have to integrate, right? So we get this question all the time: should we go best of breed or all in one, right? And AdvisorEngine is an all in one platform, but firms still ask us, well, should we get a bunch of point solutions so we can get the best? So how do you balance that when you're working with your clients that say, well, I want the best here and here, but they want to see the benefits of having an all in one solution?
Yeah. So when you think about that, there's the middle ground, which I think is important, where we're an all-in-one, we don't think we should be building every single part of that. And we also think that's one. And number two is we think it's super important to partner with the point solutions that our clients use, or we think point solutions that really drive the overall experience. So we're an open architecture platform from a technology standpoint and investment standpoint. And when we do an integration, we try to go pretty deep on that. So, for example, when you think about custodian integrations, that, as you know, that's not all the same. People say, oh, well, we're integrated with XYZ custodian. Well, when we think about integration, I'll take our Schwab integration. It's super deep integration. So we integrate like things like alerts all day long. They come out of out of Schwab. Then they're going to automatically, if you set them up, will automatically go into workflows into the system. So now you're taking custodian information, creating workflows, getting to the right person to do their work. So it's all connected that way. To other ways to connect in the custodians, like with Schwab, we are able to trade with them all three different ways that they work. We can connect into iRebal, we can send trades through Fix, we can send trades into the trade blotter at Schwab. And then we also connect workflows. So for example, on the client portal, if an advisor wants to enable a client to request cash, or if the advisor's business operation person does that, we will see if there's cash in the account. If there isn't cash in the account, we're going to pen that request. And then we're going to create a raise cash capability in our trade rebalancing system. And then we'll look to see when that cash is raised. We see the cash is raised, and then the system will send that cash disbursement into the custodian. That's how you drive true scale, if you're connecting all those pieces and then connecting into the custodian. From my perspective, and this is the other thing that I think people oversay, we're connected into a custodian. In my opinion, if you don't have that depth of integration, you're not a true scalable platform.
Being the experts on integration here at Ezra Group, I would say you're absolutely right that there are firms that say, well, we're connected to Schwab, but all it means is they'll take their daily files and they can process them, which is a very different, that's not even really an integration, that's just processing data. Right?
Correct.
So what you're describing is actually an integration where you can reach into their platform and do things. And especially when it comes to, that's a big issue for firms, sending trades to the trade blotter, Schwab, connecting to workflows. That of course, the request cash request can take multiple steps, and it's very difficult to track if you aren't able to monitor it across all different aspects of their business. So, certainly there's a huge difference there.
Yeah, to highlight that when you're talking about the cash movement, think about the number of people who have to get involved that no longer, if you're using our platform, don't need to get involved. So there's that. And the best part of that is we prevent a NIGO, which is great for the custodian, and it's great for the client experience, and it's great for the advisor's firm. Right? The NIGO is the biggest pain in the neck in the industry, right? You get a NIGO, now you're making phone calls, you get, send them to talk to the client, who's going to talk to the client, who's going to talk to the custodian, all those pieces. So one of the things that we're very focused on is when people are using our software for opening accounts, moving money, moving assets, trade rebalancing, all those pieces, is so that things are in good order before it gets to the custodian. So we've worked tirelessly to make it really smart capabilities in terms of when for all those. So it's not just a simple workflow; it's an intelligent workflow, field by field, so that by the time it gets to the custodian, it's in good order.
It's also difficult to track, right? No one tracks that, the reduction in NIGOs from bringing on a new tech platform.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was literally thinking about that the other day to talk about that. But what I can give is an anecdote of one of our clients, COO, talked to one of our team members, and they said, I'm going to paraphrase it because I was not in the conversation, but one of the things we love about AdvisorEngine is we don't get NIGOs. We can't create a NIGO. So that felt amazingly good. That's a journey we've been on, and I think our team is really crushing that right now.
And you're ahead of the game because there's a lot of firms out there coming to us saying, we got a great AI solution for onboarding. It gets rid of NIGOs. And do you really understand how onboarding works? There's a lot more to it than just, throwing an AI at it and saying, we'll make this work, right? You're talking about a tremendous number of different systems involved. Just one custodian and getting it to work. They've got 50 different forms that are changing all the time. And you got 50 different registrations. And maybe you might be able to get a very simple account opened. But when it comes to all the complexity, you don't even understand the problem you're dealing with.
And you raised a really good point. If you think about the custodian forms that do change more often than we all love them to, and I'm sure the custodians feel the same way, right? We get that messaging and we have to react to it, right? So we have to react to changing our rule set, whether it's adding field, new rules, whatever it may be, so that we get in front of that. So when the new custodian document is out there, that we have the right document information so we can map everything through the APIs and things like that. So it's really important. It's a constant caring. It's constant care.
It's another thing that people don't understand when it comes to building and selling software solutions, that now software has been getting cheaper to build for the last 20 plus years. Constantly getting cheaper. I think 10 years ago, I wrote an article for Investors Business Daily where they asked, should advisors build their own software? And it was already getting cheap then. And the answer was no, because the cost of building the software is less than 10% of the overall cost it's going to require to maintain going forward that software. The integrations, the updates, the bug fixing, the support, that's where all the main cost comes from, not the building. Now with AI, everything's almost free. It's still not a good idea to build your own software because again, you don't want to be in the software business for most things. Some things, yes, if you have some interesting tools or technologies that no one else has, but you're losing the ability, for example, AdvisorEngine, if I could throw that out as an example, you're bringing your software has best practices from hundreds of other firms that you're bringing and you're managing and curating that for advisors. And if I'm building my own, it's just me. I don't have access to that.
No, 100%. We can talk probably an hour for this topic, but I think that, it could be seen as subjective given what we do, but I've been building software both for internally for, prior to starting AdvisorEngine here. You just scratched the surface of things that people have to think about. Think of security. It's a huge deal, right? That you think of, ourselves and all the people in our space that we spend a lot of money and time on security, right? And then you get into things like data normalization, right? So so just having a whole ability to do that across multiple custodians and create basically a single experience for clients and advisors and business ops across multiple custodians and other data providers. That's a lot to maintain. And we just talked about this. So it's one custodian or multiple custodians. That's just one example. Oh, by the way, we talked about before a form change. How about transaction codes change? Well, that
Yeah.
impacts everything. That impacts
Yeah.
performance. That impacts, everything that, market values, all sorts of things will impact. So there's just a ton of things there that every day we cure for. And given your background, you also know that even all the tooling that you use, you have to constantly update it for a host of reasons, right? One is it's no longer supported, or it's not being supported for security fixes. So you have all these different tool sets within the software ecosystem that you have to constantly care for, constantly. I mean, we're updating our firewall sometimes every single day,
Mhm.
right? For new threats that are happening and all the things you have to measure to do it.
I want to shift gears. So we're about halfway done our discussion here. I want to get to what everyone's talking about, what I'm talking about constantly, which is AI. So you guys recently announced your first head of artificial intelligence, Tim Foley, the great Tim Foley, who we all
Yes.
know. And
Super, super pumped that he joined the firm.
oh, I am. I think it's a huge win for you guys to get him on board, considering his experience in the industry. But number one, what drove you to do that? Why do you think you need a head of AI? And what is he going to be doing for you guys? And what do you see just broadly changes in the value that's going to be added inside your core platform with AI?
Yeah, let's take the strategy real quick, and then I'll dive into Tim and what's going on at AdvisorEngine. So strategy wise, right, we're going to continue to partner with AI providers. So for example, today we're integrated with Jump and Zeppelin and Zox. Our clients are happy with those integrations, and we're learning from that, and we're getting better and better with those three partners. So we're going to continue to, if you think about it that way, in a way that we would do that, in other types of verticals, right? Or other point solutions that if they're AI native and our clients really want to use it, we will integrate with them. We're also going to build our own. If you think about what we have years and years of data and workflows, right? And we have a broad set of data, right? So not only is it many years in our system, many workflows, and thousands and thousands of workflows, but it's also a extremely broad data set. So we think we can do a ton, right, to help our clients really scale their business, grow their business, operate really efficiently, and have much better engagement with their clients and prospects. So we're just touching the surface of the things that we can do, and bringing in Tim, he's incredibly talented, and Tim Foley, right? He's been building advisor software for a long time, and has been AI for several years. And so connecting somebody who deeply, deeply understands an advisor's practice with now, and then connecting AI to really transform with real world problems to solve. It's been great to have him on board. Every meeting, every moment is awesome. But it's also what we're doing with our team. I'll give an example. We were talking about, hey, we built these APIs to create pre-meeting prep. Well, why don't we put in our own software? So 1 week later, we had a working prototype. So those are things that we can do, I think, pretty rapidly and quickly to offer some really cool solutions for our clients.
So speaking of pre-meeting prep, we're seeing you also have as a full-featured platform or a full wealth platform. You also have your own CRM, which
Mhm.
used to be called Juncture, now it's called AdvisorEngine CRM, and it's fully integrated into your overall platform. And we're seeing a number of other CRM providers launching AI note takers. So you're partnering with Jump, Zox, and Zeppelin, for to name a few, but other firms like a Practify or a Wealthbox are building out their own note takers. So, based on what you just said, is your strategy changing, or do you see advisors building a note? You just mentioned pre-meeting prep, so you're halfway to a note taker, or do you think you're going to do both? You'll build something, you're also a partner, or you're going to stick with your current approach?
We'll do both. Like we'll continue to partner. I always change. We're not in the religion changing business. If you love, we have enough clients who love a certain point solution or provider, we are happy to integrate with them, and we're going to continue to do that in open architecture. Every single one of our product teams are working on AI solutions. That's what we're doing, now. That's what we're going to continue to do. I think, Craig, if you let's look back, let's forward. If you look at kind of the wealth platform space over the past, 5, 10 years, you know, there used to be portfolio management over here or a subset like trade rebalancing, fee billing, point solutions, CRM. And then the portfolio management software came together, which I think naturally does. I think you
Mhm.
should have the same data set for your trade rebalancing, for your fee billing, and for your performance reporting, right? And then what happened? We buy Juncture, Orion buys Redtail, SS&C buys another CRM provider. So now you see in the wealth tech space that all the platforms have a CRM component. Why? From our perspective, you shouldn't even have to use the word CRM in the future. And when you think about AI, it's the same thing. And whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years now, it's table stakes for every wealth platform. And I think it's going to happen in one of two ways: partnership, right? And build your own, right? And the partnership would take a lot of different forms, but that to me is where this is all going. I don't think there's a world whether you're going to say, well, I have a portfolio management system and it doesn't have AI, or I have a wealth tech system, it doesn't have any organic AI, and you got to rely on a third party for all AI solutions. That doesn't feel like a realistic the future, right? So to me, all of our developers are going to be using AI to develop our software, and we're going to be delivering AI solutions that transform the entire experience and makes, again, the advisor's experience, the whole practice way more efficient than it is today. As efficient as I believe our software is today, it will go to the next level.
It's exciting to hear. It's exciting to think about how more efficient things can get because it's already improving tremendously in so many different areas. So, do you see with all the work you guys are doing in AI, what we're seeing is all these new startups and all these other AI firms sort of moving into everyone else's category where they think it's so easy to build. We'll just build financial planning. We'll just build rebalancing. We'll just build all this stuff. Let's tell Claude to build it. We'll have it. But that's really not the best way to go for some firms. If you're looking at running your business on a platform where every dollar has to be accounted for and every regulators can be looking down your throat, do you think some firms might be fooled to be jumping on some of these platforms a little too early?
Well, that's certainly possible, and you've been in the middle of this where thinking about what's the security of the data, like you jump in a plot, and I think even, I'm happy to say, I do think like even the past 12 months, I think advisors are becoming more aware of, hey, the data isn't just on my phone, it's somewhere in the cloud and it's in some maybe training some model. I think that messaging's gotten out there now that people I think are starting to understand that. So when I think about it, and we chose the partners we chose in the note taking, right? We did it. We did a research on them. From that, hey, these are the three best providers that, from our perspective, on the research. We also took a look at how to partner with them. Are they open to partnership? How well are they funded? Different things like that. Of course, we can't predict the future. We're not going to be perfect here. No one's going to be perfect. But I do think you have to think about how are they playing the ecosystem? How are they funded? Is there a track record from the founders? Things like that with any new piece. But I double down the AI and then obviously the security around your data. So we take it seriously. But again, we're going to partner and we're going to build. I mean, we're already building.
Indeed, of course. I applaud that strategy. All right, so we're running out of time. Only a couple minutes left. I want to hit a couple more questions. You
Mhm.
recently launched a new version of your client portal, and this isn't a thing that an area of the business I think doesn't get enough attention, and that there isn't enough consolidation. That there's too many client portals, right? Every RIA's got a couple, at least the custodian, maybe their CRM, their financial planning tool, maybe another one that they could have multiple. And having a strong client portal is an underrated part of, I think, advisors' business. So, in your architecture, how tightly is the portal integrated? And is it becoming, do you see it becoming more of a part of the advisor client workflow rather than just a dashboard?
We believe strongly that it should be part of the advisor workflow, and so think of and this is one of the things working on with AI, right? Is if you take a step back, a lot of the people are talking about AI around helping a firm become more operationally efficient, and that's 100% a ton of use cases in that category. The other area that I think two other areas to think about is your revenue growth and your client experience, right? So from a revenue growth perspective, there's two things, right? Either you can do more with your existing clients, right? Do you have the tip of the iceberg, right? And how do you get the rest of the assets? Or it's going to be a new client coming in the door. So we think the operational experience that will become way more efficient is the advisor should take that capital, right, and deploy that into resources for marketing. Because I think it's really important that advisors really pivot or add to not just being a referral, but add on their marketing capabilities. So that's kind of the growth side of it. I think that's a natural piece. On the client engagement side, um, that's an area that I think AI can do a ton, right? And really connect. If you think like of a string connecting people, I talked about advisors, business ops, and clients, like really connecting them through. Anyone should be able to kick off a workflow. Anyone should like it could be a client kicking off, it could be a business ops person, it should be an advisor kicking off. Think of a world like this. An advisor meets with a client, and what happens today with AI note takers, they're very good, right? But they basically create here's tasks that come out of it. It's a summary, and here's the notes, and here's tasks, and the tasks then get connected into a CRM, and that's where kind of the work is getting done, right? That's fulfilled. But think of a world that you extend it now to the client portal. So now in the client portal, the client would say, "Hey, I owe this to the advisor. I need to give him my trust document. I need to give him my XYZ, my tax return, whatever it is, right?" Or I said as an open up an account. I need to do that, right? Do in the client portal. The advisor is supposed to do X, Y, and Z. And now the client can see, oh, isn't that cool? I'm doing my homework. He or she is doing their homework. And now the client, instead of feeling like a quarterly or semi-annual annual meeting, is actually feeling the advisor doing work for them and being engaged with them throughout the year. So they can really see the work that's happening. That's where we're going to go with it, to really help advisors deliver their value and do it in a very engaging way.
All right, last question, Rich. The rest of the year, what can we expect? Anything you can pre-announce that your guys are building that the AdvisorEngine clients can look forward to before the end of the year?
Well, I just snuck that one out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, more.
A lot more. Yeah. So thematically, well, let me take a step back, right? So we did just announce the launch of our AdvisorEngine Portfolio Solutions, our TAMP, right? And what's really cool about that is the TAMP services, right, use the same technology that an advisor can use in their practice. So, for example, in, they can have a set of clients and assets that the advisor is trading and managing, and another set of assets that they can use. I'm sorry, another set of assets could be in advisor and portfolio solutions where you're using APS to do your trading and your investment framework and things like that. But the neat thing about it, you can switch in between the two seamlessly, right? It's one experience for the advisor and their team, and ultimately the client. So it's super cool. So we're going to continue to invest in those areas where around the trade rebalancing capabilities, adding today, we don't have household rebalancing plans to have that by year end. So I'll announce that now here. That's in the works. We're going to continue to build out our overall reporting framework, something Craig and I talked about probably at T3, but we're really proud of our reporting framework to build a data lake on steroids. So when you ask me the question, like, should be people, advisors be doing things? We have a data lake already for advisors to use, and it's incredibly fast. And so example would be with one of our competitors, if you want to run a report, it feels like, I don't know, I was in Bear Stearns in 2005. You run reports and you get a PDF somewhere in the future, right? You see
Right.
your schedule report, right? The good news is you can schedule it, probably go out, go work out. It's a health, and maybe it's good for your health, and you come back. Our case, it's real, it's live, it's sub-second, and it's all sorts of data, right? That you can then share. You can PDF it if you like. You can customize PDF. You can create a report for your client. But the point is, it's incredibly fast across a ton of data points, and it's live to you for you to work with. So we're going to continue to do more and more in that area where the clients, we at our core, it's the client data. We want to give them all the access to it, and the way they want to get access to it.
That's what we want. We want to meet clients where they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
Which
we do.
is, you've said it all. We're out of time. Where can people find more information about AdvisorEngine?
AdvisorEngine.com and on AdvisorEngine.com. If you'd like to learn more about our tab, its investment management tab is on there.
Awesome.
Click away.
Excellent, Rich. Thanks for being here, man. Go Birds.
Here we go, Steelers.
All right.
Take it
Take
easy.
care, man. It's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. Deep integrations beat surface connections. Rich emphasized that true platform value comes from deep custodian integrations like at Schwab that automate workflows end-to-end, not just daily file processing. AdvisorEngine's approach prevents NIGOs and scales operations by connecting data workflows and all 3 constituents. That's advisors, ops, and clients. Number 2, AI is table stakes now, not optional. Every wealth platform will need AI, either through partnerships like AdvisorEngine is doing with Jump, Zox, and Zeppelin, or building it in-house. Rich's hiring of industry leader Tim Foley signals AdvisorEngine's commitment to building proprietary AI solutions alongside integrations, transforming advisor efficiency, revenue growth, and client engagement. And 3, Client Portal as the workflow hub. Client Portal is evolving from a passive dashboard into an active engagement tool. AI-powered note takers will surface tasks for both advisors and clients, creating visibility into ongoing work and strengthening advisor-client relationships throughout the year, not just at quarterly meetings. All right, that's it. You've reached the end of another episode of the Wealth Tech Today podcast. Thanks for listening. But before you go, please head over to our website, EzraGroup.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and updates. You won't be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.